Hi, did I surprise you with my hair? I thought I might. Where do you consume most of your media? Judging by the fact that you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you watch it on your smartphone probably, but you definitely get most of it from the internet. Places like Snapchat, Boomerbook, and Instagram. And that means that you're playing into a new-ish generation of media called fast media, speedy media, or speedy mead, whatever you like to call it. Either way, it is really, really fast. This video has actually been brewing in my head for quite some time, so there's going to be a few personal quibbles in here. It's mostly opinion-based, and you're also going to see a lot more jump cuts. The reason I chose Snapchat to sort of headline this video is because I think it perfectly captures, even more so than other apps, this idea called the attention economy. Essentially what the attention economy is the fact that humans have a finite resource in them. It's their attention, the amount of focus they can put into something every single day. And the more an app can capture your focus, the more they can throw ads at you, the more they can make money off of you. And what better way to do that than with an app that actually has media that goes away if you don't look at it fast enough. The whole interface of Snapchat and similar apps is trying to draw your attention to a whole bunch of things on screen at once. Bright colors, nice images, all that stuff. And it's just hoping that one of these tabs catches your eye, and maybe it'll make you swipe through some advertisements on the way through. Snapchat is really, really effective at manipulating its users into looking at the app as many times a day as possible. The Verge reported that of the more than 200 million users that frequent Snapchat, the average user looks at it about 30 times a day. And that is a lot of attention that you're drawing straight to things like talking to your friends, looking at memes, and especially news media as well. And that's something that a lot of companies are picking up on. As functionality for news sites is added to things like Instagram and Snapchat, it's becoming more and more clear to media outlets that they need to start making use of the attention economy even more so than they were before. And that's kind of the crux of this whole video. Outlets like CBC and the Washington Post know that you didn't go onto the app for specific information or news. So they try to throw a whole bunch of different clickbait headlines at you so that you click on one, maybe look at some ads. This causes some issues for me personally. It's one thing to water down a full news article so it fits on a Snapchat tile, but it's another thing to start relying so heavily on catching people's attention that you do things that are in poor taste or otherwise sort of like those tabloids that you see at the checkout of a grocery store. Here's a sort of harmless example. This is a $20 burger. Here's how it came to be. We'll get to the company that posted this in a minute, but this is the least impressive thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. It costs what? 3 times the price of a normal burger? Which is a little bit, I don't know, maybe not good business, but it's not like it's that impressive either. Furthermore, why did the Washington fucking Post put that on their Snapchat? The media outlet that broke Watergate in the 70s and won Pulitzers is doing $20 burger reviews. I told you this video was going to have some personal quibbles in it, so sorry for that. I've seen media outlets making, let's say, some more egregious slip-ups. Things like using a dead person's picture as the thumbnail and then making that clickbait title about a strange way that they died. I think that's in pretty poor taste, and I didn't even think it happened all that often, except for when I went to go look on Snapchat for an example, it was one of the first things that I saw on CBC's tab. Not a great look for them. But all I've talked about so far is the negatives. And while there are a few missteps here and there that companies are making, I think that the effect of apps like Snapchat and Instagram on the news space is actually a net positive. Let's talk about accessibility. I noted at the start of this video that you probably get most of your news from an online source, but I'm willing to go more specific. If you're under the age of 35 and you saw some news unprompted, I'm willing to bet that there's a good chance it came from one of these. Except not this one in particular. This is Ian's greasy-ass iPhone, but I think you get the point. You have a lot of news and a lot of information in your pocket at all times. And I think that since we're now more than a decade into the selling of smartphones, we're starting to see the results. You've seen climate rallies and Black Lives Matter protests happening everywhere. And those are really important issues being spearheaded mostly by young people. So I think that having that little information box in your pocket, while I won't give it all the credit, is a really good way to organize and to stay up to date on those sort of things. I won't draw causation here because that's a really complicated issue to get into. But in the past decade, since we've seen the emergence of smartphones, even youth voting has seen a general upward trend. And while there are some pockets in Canada and the US where that doesn't quite track, it seems to me that having that little information box in your pocket, that 5G COVID factory, could actually be doing some good for the political world. Just a little while after I finished recording this video, it was reported that 1 million people actually registered to vote for the United States election over Snapchat, so I think that's a pretty important development to mention before I let this video go online. I think it would be a naive stance to assume that just because there are new ways to consume media, that they're going to have a negative effect on the people consuming them. But I also think it would be naive to think that I'm exactly right about everything I talked about in this video. So why don't you leave me a comment? Thanks for watching, by the way. It was nice having you. Except not specifically this one, this is Ian's greasy-ass iPhone. But I'm willing to bet that his shoulder hurts now, because I accidentally hit it while I was throwing that phone out of the shot. I might keep that take, honestly. Let me do one more.
Did you see how stone cold I was?
That was good, that was really good. I'm sorry.